Welcome to Jets Rewind. I'm Marty Schupak in New York. I'm joined by my two very close friends, Ray Clifford out in Marysville, Ohio, Ralph Schrager out in Belmont, Mass. It's beautiful this time of year in the Northeast with the leaves. So my better half is going to be out trimming the bushes, so we might hear some background noise here. But anyway, how you doing, Ralph?
I'm doing really well, a lot better than they're doing in Florida. I just talked to someone who has property down in Florida, and it's unbelievable, devastating.
Yeah,
It really is. It's amazing too. Everybody was leaving the Northeast for Florida. I wonder if there'll be a migration back. How you doing, Ray?
good. Uh, just wandering through another weekend of Jets. What drama can come up next? It's kind of funny with since that happened, all the theories on what went down.
Right. Okay. We have a full slate today, highlighted by the classic trivia to start. And before we go, I have a little bit of house cleaning. We're going to get to Todd Downing in a minute, but I just want to transactions and Ralph, one of them you're going to love. This week they re-signed Jalen Key to the practice squad, which was pretty predicted. He's been up and down. They also added a center. Pay close attention. Alex Lindstrom, who's from Dudley, Mass. He went to Shepherd Hill High School, played at Boston College.
He must be Chris Lindstrom's brother.
He's the brother of Chris Lindstrom on the Falcons, and his father is Dave Lindstrom, who played at Boston University
Uh-oh,
from
with who?
1972, 1976.
Was he on
So
your line?
I missed him by 1 year. I played 1 year at BU in 71. He was there
Oh
when I was
man.
a student, but I remember him. He actually had a pretty good career, played 8 seasons for the Chiefs. So we'll keep an eye on this Alex Lindstrom. There's a tie-in to Jets Rewind. And as
Wow.
I said, the Jets, we all know they fired Robert Saleh. They did some reshuffling. They hired Todd Downing, according to,
Well, they didn't hire him. They gave him a
well, they
Promoted
promotion.
him.
elevated him.
Yeah.
And according to I think it was Brian Costello or somebody else I heard. It could have been Samini. They offered him, I don't understand this offer, to resign or stay with the organization in another
Who
aspect.
offered this to who?
Hackett, Nathaniel Hackett. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Oh,
I thought you were talking Sala.
No, no, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Nathaniel Hackett. Yeah. Robert Sal, defensive coordinator. No. So anyway, just so we know, just quickly, Todd Downing, he's like a Minnesota guy, born and raised there. He played in a semi-pro league. He's been around forever, going from the Vikings to the Rams to the Lions, all on offense. And then from the Lions, he's actually the quarterbacks coach in Buffalo for 1 year. And then he went to the Raiders as quarterbacks coach in 2015, 2016. Now, in 2017, he became the offensive coordinator uh, for the Raiders. And I think they had that year, Derek Carr was the quarterback. They were 6-10.
Yeah. I, I
Okay.
I I checked that out. They were 22nd in points scored that year in the league.
Right, right. Um, and then I guess he was let go, ended up with the Vikings, then as a tight ends coach, then the Titans as tight end coach. Then he became offensive coordinator in 2021. Now he was 12-5, but that's a little deceptive because the offensive coordinator before him was Arthur Smith, who's so well thought of as an offensive coordinator, and he left in January. So his first year he was 12-5. His second year there, he was 7-10, and then he ended up with the Jets. Some people think that we're getting Nathaniel Hackett 2.0. I'm a little more optimistic. And Ralph, you're going to love this, even you, Ray. The highlight was in 2015, Todd Downing was voted the quarterback's coach of the year by PFF.
Whoa.
No, he probably
I'll get
has.
him bigger than that.
They have to watch the all 22 to judge how he runs the sidelines. Yeah.
Right. So that's so. I'll start with Ralph. I don't know if you could add anything to Todd Downing, and then Ray, you could chip in if you want. And then, well, maybe we should get to the classic trivia, then get Ralph.
Yeah.
Ralph,
Let's do that. Get that out of the way.
let's get the classic trivia. Go ahead, Ralph.
Okay. In a consecutive 2-year period in Jet history, they had 3 different quarterbacks who basically took all the snaps in that 2-year period. All 3 of them went to the same college. Can you name the 3 players and the college?
Wait a minute. In a 2-year period.
Yeah, like 76 and 77 or
Okay.
2004,
What's the second part of the
2005.
question?
There were 3 quarterbacks that basically took all the snaps those 2 years.
Okay.
And all 3 of them went to the same college. Can you name the players in the college?
Ooh.
Ray's got his thing. Yeah.
It tells me this goes back a ways. Maybe not.
One is obvious, but I can't think of a third. But we'll get. That's a very good question, Ralph. Very good. And of course, when we get to it, if we don't have it, we'll guess. You'll give us a hint, like if it's the SEC or the Pac-10.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that. All right. Anyway, Ralph, Todd Downing, and I want both your impressions of what went on, and is this going to improve anything? Is it more of the same, or what? Go ahead, Ralph.
I don't think they're going to make wholesale changes. They can't do that. I heard Rogers say in a short week, you just can't do that. That's why one of the things I mentioned was, do you think maybe, he'll do certain things, maybe integrate Corley? I don't know. But like I say every show, Todd Downing's plays will work if the offensive line plays better. And I thought you were going to say Michael LaFleur 3.0, since that Nathaniel Hackett is Michael LaFleur 2.0.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Ray, anything you want to add? Anything you know of about Todd Downing that we might have missed at all? I mean, I know Ray is a huge Ryan Tannehill fan. He has his post.
I am. I've been campaigning for him for years, but nobody
No
was
kidding. That's interesting.
Anything you want?
True.
Anything you want to add? I guess when he was with the Titans, it was Ryan Tannehill was the quarterback.
Yeah.
And it was like 3 yards
Derrick Henry,
of dust. Derrick Henry. But go ahead, Ray.
I hope he picked up some stuff like from Arthur Smith along the way, in his travels. But I mean, even if he's Hackett 2.0, I still think he might be a better play caller on 3rd and 1, which would be a huge improvement right there. And that's, I don't think they're going to change much either this week, but I think they can change what they call, not necessarily the game plan itself, but they can be a little more aggressive, or just, try different things that might work on certain plays. But all in all, I think it's going to come down to he's going to sit down with Aaron and go over everything with him, what he likes, what he doesn't like, and just gear it around his, how he likes things. I just want to see a few changes on basic plays. I just want to see quit seeing a run up the middle on first down every series. I want to see something that might be a little more, crafty on a 3rd and 1 instead of another run up the middle to get stuffed. I think that's what everybody wants. Just show something different. Show something that has a chance of working.
Ray, everything that went on as far as changing of the head coach, changing of the offensive coordinator, and the fact that Monday night is nationally televised at home. Do you think this is going to be a positive and it'll give the Jets some juice as like they're running into the stadium, or you have the feeling you want to see what happens on when they get the ball?
A little bit of both. I think they're pulling out all the stops with the, I hate calling them throwback unis, but going back to the originals again, which I think will look great. But I think it could give them a little, if they come out of that gate well, if they come out struggling, who knows from there. But I think, well, we never even really said much, but I think that was the right move to do it now. Everybody was griping,
It
but I think
was.
it was.
Uh,
Some people said, why not wait to the bye week? Well,
no,
okay, that's another 6 games away. At that point, if it's not better, you're doomed. So, I wasn't against the move. I think there could be some juice, but it's gonna be hard on a short week.
yeah,
Or not
Ralph, I
short.
want you to answer the same question, but Ralph, I want to throw this in at you. Monday night, if the Jets win the toss, should they take the ball or defer?
Uh, I think they'll defer. He's a defensive guy, and that seems to be the thing now. So you can hopefully get a score at the end of the half and get the ball back. That's that's the new strategy. I think if they don't come out with some juice, then there's something wrong with this team. Whether it's going to affect the outcome of the game or not, well, I'll go along with Ray and say I'll wait and see on that. I don't trust this team as far as I can throw them anymore. I mean, Ray is a wise one in here, and he's always a wait and see guy. We're always the suckers.
Ray,
Well, we've all
is
been through this stuff too much.
Well, and the other thing Ray is a genius about, apparently 1 year late, is Brendan Eccles.
yes, Ray.
I
Ray
should have stuck
knows.
with him.
Yeah.
Of all things, I said Sauce would have a good year, and then
Well,
he drops that one that cost us last week.
right. Ralph, you realize Ray is like the anti-Marty. I overreact. Ray is the calm. So, but I
Yeah.
want to go, Ralph, I'm skipping one question. We're going to come back to that question, but you mentioned Eccles, you mentioned Sauce, and the question came up from Ralph. I'm going to start with this. Would you trade Sauce Gardner for 2 first-rounders? I said, Ralph, are you kidding me? Are you serious? I say I would trade him for 2 second-rounders. That's this week. I don't even think there's a question. I'm so down on this guy. And I think, it's funny. What seems to be coming up in college, besides the wide receivers that are elite, the second elite seems to be these defensive backs. I would take a shot at someone there. So without a doubt, would you trade Sauce for 2 first-rounders in a second? I would trade him. Ray, would you trade Sauce for 2 first-rounders?
Well, I'm not going to jump off a cliff over his bad game. He ran into the guy who the refs give favors to as well. So he got the benefit of the doubt, and he got caught in that where he isn't used to that. But I would if it's a high enough first rounder. I'm not going to trade him for the 32nd, or we have 32, right? Yeah. Because that is 2 second rounders, basically, if you're dedicating a late first rounder. But if he's, 20 or below, I'd probably take it.
Okay, I see. And I think, Ray, you're out in Ohio. Cincinnati, they could probably use a defensive back, right?
Cincinnati Bearcats or
After
Bengals?
Bengals.
watching the Commanders move all over him and Jaden Daniels throw all over him, yeah, they could definitely use some help in the
Right.
backfield.
And he went to college out there too.
But Cincinnati is the cheapest organization. They probably don't want to pay him.
It's true.
Well, that's their rep, but it isn't as bad as it used to be. When Mike Brown finally gave up the reins on the purse strings and let his daughter of all people take over. Daughter. She's actually pretty good as a kind of GM getting stuff negotiated. She kind of pays a little better.
Right. Okay.
Did they ever sign extend the receiver? Yeah.
No. But I didn't think they should have either. I'm glad they didn't, because that would have set another precedent in the NFL of, hey, forget the rookie deal. We're going to do it a year early. So.
Right. All right. Talking about personnel and.
By the way, Marty, just to let you know, I would trade him.
Oh, I'm sorry.
For 2 late first round picks. I think they should sell high with this guy.
I knew you guys would go for that one. I want the picks that will give us more benefit, even if we want to trade up or something. The higher the pick, we can use one as opposed.
Oh, sure. I mean, that would be preferable, but I'd go for any first round picks for him.
I agree.
I would definitely do it too. And talking about personnel, and I'll start with you, Ralph, because I almost skipped over you. Which is the worst move, the Jets trading for Reddick or Philly signing Huff? Go ahead, Ralph.
Some question. I would say from a perspective of money wise, obviously, I think Philly's in a real hole with this guy. I don't know how many years they gave him, but they could really be stuck with him. From a fan's perspective, it's kind of tough to lose the third round pick. It's not going to destroy the franchise. It's a pretty tough question. I think Philly gets the worst of it, though, because we're going to get rid of this guy in no time. And
Right.
Philly is stuck with maybe he'll come around, but wow, it looks pretty bad now.
It does. And, again, we're a Jets show, but the pressure is starting to build up on the Philadelphia Eagle coach right now, too.
Well, I wouldn't mind as a Jet coach if he got fired. I hear it.
Yeah.
No, I don't
Well,
know about that. I'm not in love with him. I've heard stories about the same thing with the Browns coach. That's a coach I like. I think he's a real coach. All right, anyway, let's go to the next question, talking about the Jets.
Well, Ray didn't answer that question.
Oh,
I want to
Ray,
hear
go
what Ray
ahead.
has to say.
Yeah, what about
Uh,
you trading Reddick for which is worse?
I,
Reddick or
I,
Philly trading Huff?
I think Philly got the worst of it because I think we still have some things we can do, and he may come in, but if he doesn't, I think at the trade deadline we may get something back for somebody giving the rights at the end of the year who could use them. So I think we've got at least some options. I think Philly's stuck with what they got.
And I'm sure you guys both heard when Woody Johnson answered some of the questions. He had a open door plead for Reddick. Come on in. We want you. Did you hear that?
I did hear it. I mean, his agents just dumped him. This guy,
Yeah, his
obviously,
agents just dumped him.
yeah. The expression "cut off your nose to spite your face," boy. I think he just retired that expression.
Right.
Like I said, there's obviously a reason why this guy bounces around so much with his talent. He's probably just a really difficult person to deal with.
Yeah. And I'm sure Drew Rosenhaus is waiting outside his door. That he'll probably sign.
You got to think that they were trying to saying, "Hey, this is what you can get. Take it," and he just keeps
Right.
saying no. So they just said, "All right, we're done with you."
That's like a constant on Jets Rewind. It's like every show. It's all we talk about. All right. Anyway, if we're wrong, if I'm wrong about Jeff Ulrich and the season starts spiraling out of control, and let's say Aaron Rodgers says, he enjoyed it. I can see it now. I enjoyed my time in New York. I thought it was going to work out better. It didn't. Do the Jets, Ray, do they draft a quarterback in the first round?
Next year.
I would say not if they think Jordan Travis is. I think if he's showing any signs of improving to the point that he may play next year, and I think they'd probably not draft one in the first round. I have no doubt they'll draft one. And if they can keep Taylor around another year or pick up somebody else in the meantime, I think they'd do that. I think they'll draft one. I just don't know about the first round.
Right. All right. How about you, Ralph?
Well, I hope they don't, because just we've seen this act so many times, it doesn't work. I would hope that they pick one maybe in the third round. They have a couple of third rounders, and let him and Travis fight it out. We see who develops quicker. And yeah, I like the idea of Taylor having a bridge year playing, but who knows? They already magically the quarterbacks are floating to the top of the mock drafts every year. It's like the lemmings falling off the cliff. It's ridiculous, and this isn't even supposed to be that good a year for the quarterbacks. Right. But it doesn't matter. They'll make their way to the top five.
Oh yeah, it always happened. As Trevor Lawrence won his first game, I guess last week.
Yeah.
So he's on a roll, and we always talk about the core three from a couple of years ago: Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, and we put percentages on that. I remember we did a show in the summer about
Yeah, I know.
the
It's so embarrassing.
percentages about them re-signing. So we're going to revisit that. So I'm going to start with Ralph. Brees, Garrett, and Sauce. Give me the percentages you think they have
Well,
to.
I'm going to mea culpa. I said Sauce 100% last time, and you said it's never 100%. I guess I should listen to Marty. Um, I would say 75% now for Sauce. For Garrett Wilson, he's the tough one because you just get the feeling he's just going to be difficult his whole career. I would go about the same 75%. And Brees Hall, I would say under 50%, probably like about 30%.
Oh, wow. Okay, let me go next. Brees Hall, I'm going to say 10%. I don't see, there's always a chance, but I don't think they're going to bring him back. Garrett Wilson, I'm sorry to say, I think it's going to be like 50%. And the reason being, it's just the movement and with the contracts, the 5-year, 4 or 5-year deals, these wide receivers coming out
Yeah.
of college are just so elite. I'm not saying you can replace them in 1 year, but it's just easier to replace and you have relief on the salary cap. And Sauce Gardner, I'm just going to say 50%. I just think it's a flip of a coin with him.
Wow.
So that's what I
How
say.
about that? Wow.
How about you, Ray?
I don't think you're going to see Sauce have many more games like he had last week. I mean, if those continue, obviously it'd be low.
It hasn't just been that game. We've been talking about him since the beginning of last year, grabbing onto people and getting away
but
with
he was
it.
getting away with it. Now, if it turns against him, we got to see if he can, right that ship and quit being so handsy. I think that's what one of the things we talked about when the year he was drafted was he's a little too handsy coming into the league, but he was getting away with it. But I still think it's pretty high. They bring him and Wilson back, and I'm on the same boat as Marty as Brees, probably 10% or less, but I think it's a little higher on Sauce and Garrett. I think it's around 80% that they'll re-sign them. But a lot will depend on how the year plays out. That we can revisit this, not necessarily weekly like we did with Reddick, but come the last third of the season, and if the Jets are still tanking, it might change everything.
Yeah, Marty, you make a good point about the receivers. They're getting paid too much anyway. I think these big receivers.
Yeah, it's just outlandish. It's getting to be rough like the quarterbacks. Like, why are we doing this? I mean, it's
Well,
just
at least for the quarterbacks, if they're good, they can make your franchise. A receiver, they're only as good as the quarterback and the offensive line, really.
But as we said, they're re-signing these quarterbacks that haven't even proved anything. It's just they're tied up. And like I look, it's completely different. It was a trade, but I don't know, Ray. You're out there. I mean, what's the talk about the Browns quarterback? What are they going to do with this guy?
The funniest thing was I was talking with a guy at work last night about how they were so they were going crazy that they'd signed Watson. They didn't care. Everybody thought everybody was crushing them for how much the contract was. And they're like, they didn't care. They're like, we're now on elite level, Super Bowl bound, all this crap. I'm like, you let a guy go that had some solid years and he had a bad shoulder and you're acting like, he was terrible. And now he's down in Tampa and they're all wishing they had him back. And
right. And Ray, you and me wanted the Jets to sign him, if you remember.
I
Could have had him for nothing.
Do you remember though when the Jets had the second pick and were going to take Wilson? Houston was trying to get rid of Watson, and all these Jet fans were like, "Oh, trade that second pick for him."
We were always the talk of the team with the most capital that can.
Yeah.
But I also remember in the draft when we ended up with Darnold, I thought Cleveland was taking Darnold. I thought we were getting Mayfield.
That's right. Yeah.
I wasn't sure I wanted him, but
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, he would have made it in this.
No, never on the Jet. Never the first time around. All right. Okay.
One thing, Marty, I just want to say about the quarterback situation. My strategy now is if I'm the Jets, I don't get to the first round pick. I start searching around the league for the next reclamation project. A guy who was drafted and thrown in the fire too soon. You know, the next Darnold or Geno Smith or Mayfield, someone like that.
Testaverde.
Yeah, Vinny Testaverde, exactly. Those guys, because they can come in, they're veterans at this point. They, you know, and if you have a coach, a good coach, that'll put a good team around him, that'll be adequate. And I just think that's the way to go now. These
Right. And I'm kind of the same theory, but I'd also agree with Ray. I'd draft a quarterback, let's say in the third and fifth round or third and sixth round. And again, I'm still hot on this Martinez, who they brought up last week. I'm hoping he gets some sort of action. Next question is okay, if you had to name the Jets' best offensive players so far, and we're only 5 games into the season, could you come up with one? I'm going to start. I'm going to just throw it out there. I'm going to come up with two. I'm saying it's a tie. Joe Tippmann and Tyler Conklin. I think Joe Tippmann, the couple of errors he made, they were very obvious on the line. But besides that, I think he's been really a breath of fresh air, and I've criticized his high snaps. And maybe, as Ray said, I overreacted on that. But I think Tyler Conklin might have dropped one ball in 5 games. But to me, and without much of an offense at all, in my mind, those two are our best offensive players. Ralph?
as far as Tippin goes, I mean, I like him, but by the way, he does snap one or two high ones every game, just for your benefit, Marty. I think he's pretty good at pass blocking, but I have to feel like he has to take part of the blame for the fact that they can't get a yard up the middle. So the only guy I could come up with was Conklin, who was ignored for a while. And I don't remember him dropping any. Maybe he did, but he's been solid. But I mean, what a statement that is. I mean, Tyler Conklin, who's had really one good game, and you can't come up with anyone else. It's pretty bad.
And we don't even mention Aaron Rodgers.
No, or Breece Hall, or Wilson, or Mr. Mr. Alan Lazard, who's either very, very good or very, very horrible. It's like,
right. All right, Ray, how about you? Any one?
And I was thinking about Conklin too. The only reason I'm not saying him is because Rodgers still doesn't use him enough. He doesn't really use the tight ends a lot. I think he could be a bigger weapon than he is. But so I was trying to think of somebody who's consistently been pretty darn good also without getting a lot of touches. I like Mike Williams. Every game I'm like, go to him more. Throw it up there. Let him go get it. When's the last time they just aired one out and let the guy go deep and try and just get the ball? I don't remember anything that's longer than 15 or 20 yards.
Right. And I think Ray and Ralph is the one that pointed him out a few weeks ago too. I think we're all on the same page with him. We're all on the bandwagon for Mike Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, when I hear trading him in to sign Devontae Adams, to me it's ridiculous to take a load like that. But I think he actually doesn't he gets a bad rap. I don't think he's as slow as everyone thinks he is. He's coming off an injury, yes. But I think he's got better than average speed. I think this thing about being only like a 50-50 guy throwing it up, I think is overrated. I think if he's getting more comfortable, I think he's going to show his speed and hopefully he gets separation. So that's a good pick. Ralph, you want to add something about your buddy?
I mean, I like the guy. I mean, how many balls has he caught? Has he caught 10? I mean, he's done fine, but if that's the best we have to show for the first 5 games, it's pretty weak.
Yeah, it is. You're absolutely right, Ralph. You hit it right on the head. He's caught 10 footballs, 10 receptions, 145 yards, 14.5 average, 0.
Yeah, I mean, between him and Conklin, I don't know. He seems to avoid him. It seems like Lazard and Wilson are his guys, and whether
yeah. All right, the next question I'll start with Ralph. Will the new offensive coordinator Todd Downing integrate Malachi Corley, the Yak King? He tells everyone he's the Yak King, into the offense this Monday night. Go ahead, Ralph.
Boy, I hope so, and I think so, because I mean it's getting ridiculous. I mean, this guy is a third round pick. He doesn't even dress for games. It's they unless he's just so horrible in practice. The fourth best receiver in the draft. Boy, that's going to be on in Joe Douglas's obituary, first line of it.
Ralph, what about we talk about Brees Hall's average per carry, but Malachi Corley, one reception, 4 yards this year, which is
Well, at least it's positive yardage. I thought Brees was negative yardage.
all right. Go ahead, Ray. What about you? You think he'll be included? I do. So that's my answer. Go ahead, Ray.
Uh, I hope so too. I mean, something's got to change, and let's see if he can figure out a way to get the Yak King some chances to have some yak.
The yak, yeah.
Yeah.
He sure yaks about his yak, I can say that.
Yeah. It'd be good if, like, Robert Saleh came out and said, the one thing I just want to go and I was lying there when I said he was the fourth best receiver on the board. All right. Over-unders, which we all love. Quickly, Josh Allen, who's I guess he's in concussion protocol.
It sounds like he's active.
I think he's going to be active.
Yeah, I think he's going to play.
A half of interception over under. Ralph.
Yeah, he hasn't had a pick this year yet. He's 8 touchdowns, 0 picks, which is quite shocking for him. But yes, I think he's due for his first pick, and it will not be Sauce Gardner. Probably
Brandon Eccles.
Yeah, Brandon Eccles. Maybe Tony Adams will get in the act. Boy, do we miss Jordan Whitehead, huh? The pick king.
All right, Ray. What about you?
Over. I think we always seem to get him at least once, so we're going to get him again.
I concur. I think he's going to throw at least one, maybe 2 interceptions. Ray, what about Josh Allen, who's seems to every time the Jets play, and win or lose, he really has some chunk runs. It's incredible. Over under 50 yards rushing. What do you think?
Over. He, like you say, he always runs on us. I don't know why this week could be any different. I'm always like hoping that they, blast him one of these times when he goes to hurdle somebody. But, he gets away with it. Last week, I don't think it was even – I think he got sacked when he hit his head on the ground last week, wasn't it?
I'm not even
he
sure.
wasn't running. I always say he's going to get hurt with all these runs he does, but he always kills us. Over.
I'm going to say over. On the surface, you would say they're going to tell him, don't run as much as you did. They're concerned about, but I think his instinct is just to take off when he sees an opening. I don't think they're going to have design plays for him. I think that's out of the playbook for Monday night. But I think he will run when he sees an opening. So I'm going to say over. Ralph?
I'll say under. I mean, even if he gets 45, that's pretty good for a quarterback. And I do think he'll be a little more cautious, at least this game.
Okay. All right, Ralph, what about Aaron Rodgers, over under 250 yards passing?
That's my magic number every week, and he's always around that. I'll say right on the money. I'm going to say over.
Okay, Ray?
Cat says over.
Yes, come on, have some guts. I'm going to say no. I'm so down on this offense right now, and less downing can really make a big difference. I'm going to say under. I have yet to see any. I want to see a ball, him throw a 70-yard bomb for a touchdown. But I don't care if he throws it 2 yards and they run all that way, or if he actually throws it deep. But until I see a big play out of this offense, I just don't know what to do.
That's where the Yak King comes in, right?
Well, let's see if he's active first.
Yeah. I'm going to say under. I don't think he's going to do it. I'm going to ask you guys a question now that I want the answer after you finish the last 3 over-unders, that I think the Jets are going to do one trick play. So we're all going to take a turn to describe what the trick play is going to be that Todd Downing will do. I'm going to start the next. Brees Hall, 35 yards, rushing over-under. I'm going to say over. And I'm going to say that he's going to finally break one for over like 30 yards. So he might not have that many rushes, but I'm going to say he goes over 35. Ray?
Yeah, I'll go with over. I think he's due to break one finally somewhere along the line. We'll see if it's this game, but I think he's due for one big run at least. So,
Okay, Ralph.
No, I'm giving up on him. I've been saying one big run for like 3 weeks now.
You
It's
know,
like, no, he's good. Even if he gets 30 yards, that's a good game for him.
right, right. You know, I remember you say overreact, but Ralph, he used to say whenever he touches the ball, he could go all the way. Ralph was his biggest fan.
Well, now he goes all the way down to the ground.
It's, it's incredible. He's right, Ralph. He's like Mr. Negative Yardage. It's just like we've never seen anything like him. This guy. All right, Tyler Conklin, 5.5 receptions. Ralph, I'll start with you.
Yes. Over.
Okay, over. I'll go next. I'm going to say under. I think he's just going to have 5. Ray.
well, first, I will say that Brees Hall is on Mr. Minus Yak yardage.
Yeah.
The yards he loses after tackle. But I'll go with under. I just don't think Aaron prioritizes tight ends enough to throw to him more than 5 times in a game.
Right. Okay. Defense, 2.5 sacks. Ray, I'll start with you. Over, under.
I'm gonna say over. We've always kind of gotten to him if we don't let him get out and run on us. We've always kind of had good pressure on him. So I'll go with over.
Okay, Ralph.
I'm going to say under 2. Maybe they'll get. He's tough to bring down, even if they get to him.
I'm going to say under, and now we're going to do, if they do one trick play, which they're going to do, I'm going to describe mine first, so maybe that'll give you guys.
Well, Marty, this is your wheelhouse.
This is my wheelhouse. I remember, was it last year or the year before? They did a reverse, and Garrett Wilson was supposed to pass the ball, but he hurt his hand on the play before. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that last year or the year before?
I think it was last year.
I think it was last year, but I don't remember.
I'm gonna say that's gonna be the same play. It's gonna be a little reverse or scissors, and he's gonna see Tyler Conklin like crossing over the middle, and that's gonna be our trick play. By the way, I just want to mention too, I think with Garrett Wilson's game, we had a lot of receptions. I think we're gonna see Mike Williams have a good game. What's your trick play, Ralph?
I think Aaron Rodgers going to hand the ball off to, I don't know who would be one of the running backs or maybe Garrett Wilson on a sweep. And then Wilson will turn around and throw it to Rodgers. This is going to be inside the 5-yard line. Rodgers will be, will keep going and catch a little touchdown pass.
That is a surprise. Okay.
That is.
Ray?
I thought when Ralph started describing it, he was going to give that one, the only other one I could think of, a flea flicker.
Yeah.
Not Hall, because he'll be tackled before he can have time to him.
Which is probably a blessing because the flea will flick. It won't have been a good.
Maybe Braylon Allen up the middle and then toss it back to him for a deep one to Wilson or Williams.
Yeah. Those plays, for instance, let's say they do my play. Does Garrett Wilson like take off his glove in the huddle and does the defense notice? Which is always interesting.
Does he wear gloves all the time or just?
I'm not sure. I can't keep up.
I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Honestly.
All right, Ralph, you have one of my favorite topic. Who do you take? Where we describe 2 players the same position from 2 different eras or years or whatever. Go ahead, Ralph.
Okay, this is one with 2 very well-known players. We're going to go with 2 quarterbacks, Ken O'Brien and Vinny Testaverde. Who do you think gave you more pleasure and was a better Jet?
Ray, you want to start?
I don't care. I mean, Vinny's that one year, everybody's just loves Vinny because of the 98, which I get. I love Vinny too. But if you want to talk overall, Ken O'Brien, as much as the problem with Ken O'Brien, it brings up memories of Dan Marino on the draft board and everybody, we passed on one of the greatest passers the game's ever seen. But I think O'Brien had a solid career, and I like O'Brien. It's just it was just the Marino thing that always killed me with him that I couldn't help, but I couldn't get past. But I thought O'Brien had a really, really solid career. I like O'Brien.
Okay, you take O'Brien. How about you, Ralph?
I would too, although looking up Vinny's numbers, he played for the Jets for 7 years.
Really?
Surprised me. Yeah.
I thought he was
And
there like 4.
Did they
yeah,
bring him back for like a year? He was
well, don't forget he missed 99 because of the
Right,
injury.
right.
And his last year, he started out, and then Pennington took over. Maybe he was there for no. Anyway, he had a couple of other good years too. Of course, there was the Monday Night Miracle. He
Yeah.
had that game, and O'Brien had the duel with Marino. But I'll give the edge to O'Brien. They both, I think, were in like two. Well, actually, O'Brien was not in that many playoff games because he was hurt. I think Pat Ryan
Yeah.
took over for those 2 games. So actually, Vinny was in more playoff games than he
Yeah.
was. But I'll give the edge to O'Brien.
I'll say O'Brien. I'll make it a clean sweep. But still, it just two things drove me crazy.
Yeah.
Was when he just held on to the ball, would get sacked. He couldn't get rid of it. And the other thing was one of my favorite Jets, Altoon, having him go over the middle would drive me nuts. I don't know if that was O'Brien's fault or Joe Walton's fault. It drove him out of the game of football. If you
Well,
remember,
quarterbacks can mitigate that.
Right.
Rodgers does, throwing lower a little behind the guy if he sees that he's going to get nailed. So,
yeah,
that was a problem for O'Brien.
and people don't realize, and they look at me when I say this, for like a year and a half, Altoon was like just about an inch below Jerry Rice with the type of receptions he was making, the number of receptions he was making. He was just like outstanding. So anyway, all right, Ralph, we're going to get to the trivia answer, but you got to give us the trivia question again. And I'm sure this sounds like it's one to raise because
Before we do that, let's all give our prediction for the score of the Buffalo game.
All right, I'll go first. I'm going to say the Jets are going to bounce back. They're going to win. They're going to win 24-13. I'm not impressed with Buffalo's offense. And they're becoming a pretty boring team except for their quarterback. So I'm going to say 24-13 Jets. Ray?
I agree. I think we're going to I think, if this doesn't fire this team up for at least one game, I don't know what's going to between the unis and it's Monday night and they just fired Saul and all that. I think they're going to rise up and play a really good game. So I'm going to say they will 27, but 27, maybe 21. I think Buffalo is still Buffalo and can score on us.
Ralph?
Well, I've picked the Jets every game this year, and I've had it with them. And I think I'm doing everyone a favor by picking Buffalo 20-17.
Okay, good. There you go. I feel really good. Now, Ralph, this classic trivia, ask this question again.
All right.
I haven't looked up anything. I only came close to going by colleges, and I can only think of two, but ask the question.
Yeah, you got the wrong college. I already know what you're thinking.
Okay.
In a 2-year period, a consecutive 2-year period, the Jets had 3 different quarterbacks who took basically all of their snaps. All 3 of them went to the same college, not necessarily at the same time. 2 of them actually went at the same time. Who were the players and what college was it?
Yeah.
Okay, obviously it's the college is in Alabama, right?
It is not, no.
Okay, that's what, and you thought you had me pinned right.
They
Okay.
didn't have Kenny Stabler or Steve Sloan, so I guess there were, or Scott Hunter, so no.
All right.
There's no.
All right. Ray, you have any guess? That's a question.
I have no idea on this one.
Give us the conference first.
The conference that that the school was in at the time was the ACC.
ACC. Okay, so Ray, who's in the ACC or was? Name some schools.
Clemson, well, it was. I'm not sure who left, honestly. I'm not a big fan of the ACC, so I don't remember who left.
I don't even, there's so much movement. I'm pretty sure they're not in the ACC anymore.
All right, name 3 schools, Ralph.
I think they're in the Big Ten now, Ray.
Okay.
And used to be the ACC?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to wrap it up.
Here's
Is it
Maryland.
a hit?
Boomer
Maryland?
Esiason,
Ooh, Frank Reich.
Frank Reich.
Ooh, that's a great question.
And the third one, Sison and Reich played together at Maryland.
Oh, who the hell else was at Maryland?
This could be a trick. It could have been like a kicker or something.
No, this is not a trick. It's legit.
Yeah, Boomer always talks about his buddies too, so he probably mentioned it. But all right, how about initials, Ralph?
No,
Okay. All right.
no, that's the initials.
Norm.
That's the initials. N-O.
Oh, and now?
Norm.
N-O.
Oh, I can't think of it. Ray, any last thoughts? No. Okay, go ahead, Ralph. Who is it?
Neil O'Donnell.
Ah,
Oh, geez, I didn't know you went to Maryland.
that's a great question. All right, good. So, hey, listen, we end up on a great note. We all think the Jets are going to win on Monday night.
Not me. Well, that's right. I'm not part of this group. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to see. I
Ralph
don't
is
know.
the voice of reason this week.
Yeah, I don't know why my camera it didn't really show me in this. I see you guys. It never saw me, but that's okay.
You're not
So
missing
anything else before we close this out about anything? I know Ralph was or Ray was ecstatic that Vanderbilt last week beat the Tide.
Oh, I was too, man. That was the highlight of the weekend. That made the Jet game a little easier to stomach. Just
The
living
only
in
thing that would have made that better is if Saban was still the head coach.
that.
Ray, who
For everything.
who did the Buckeyes play today? If any?
Good game out at Oregon.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I'll watch that. Is that a night game?
Yeah.
Probably night. And as we talk, with the 137 to go in the second quarter, Alabama is beating South Carolina 14-7.
Ooh, they're struggling, boy. I'll tell you. Hey, who's number one? Texas or Ohio State? Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're in the Red River rivalry today.
Yeah.
I was disappointed because my team, I like Tennessee. They lost.
Yeah, I think that was they're looking ahead. I think they
lost Arkansas.
Last week. I was so disappointed. I love their defense.
I think they're playing Bama. They're coming up against Bama, so they might be looking ahead. I don't
Probably
know.
right. All right. With that, we're going to close it out for Jets Rewind for Ray Clifford, Ralph Schrager, Marty Schupak. Enjoy the game Monday night. And make sure you take a nap, everyone, so you go to work Tuesday. Okay, until next time.